If we may, you correctly say you were launching the Labour manifesto at that hospital in Birmingham. Now, during his 10 years as Chancellor, you and I both know that Gordon Brown repeatedly sabotaged Tony Blair when Tony Blair tried to do public service reform, whether it was foundation hospitals, which Gordon Brown started off very hostile to, or academies. Why this sudden conversion to Blairism? Is it a coincidence an election is coming up? Why is Gordon Brown suddenly an enthusiast for Blairite reform of public services?
Well, I don't recognise your description
Well,
of
they're not Blairite
sabotage.
reforms you're proposing.
No, I don't recognise your description of sabotage. And, I mean, what we're talking about now is that, and I think what Andy Burnham said is that when we took over the responsibility for government and the National Health Service, we made it into a good service, and now we can make it into an excellent service with guarantees, personal guarantees, like you will see a cancer specialist within 2 weeks. Now, that's modernisation.
I'll be very brief. Do you agree with the description that your manifesto is Blair plus?
Well, I think that I'm sure that if that's the description that Peter Mandelson's give it, I'm sure it must be right. But I'm not sure that.
Would you describe it as that?
I'm not quite sure what it means. What I do know is that it's for ensuring the recovery, making sure people can have jobs, that they can have personal guarantees for health service, and that it's a big choice between us and the Tories.
OK, I just want to talk about the three Labour MPs who are facing prosecution over their expenses, and they're going to get legal aid. Just want to play you a clip of David Cameron, what he had to say about this.
Today, the three Labour MPs who refused even to stand at the dock of the courtroom, those three Labour MPs have applied for you, the taxpayer, to fund their defence through legal aid. What a complete outrage.
What do you think?
I think this is a criminal case, and these people are facing the most serious charges. So I think that if he wants to be Prime Minister, he should recognise that you let the courts decide on guilt or innocence. And the second thing is on legal aid. No, the second thing, well, look at the atmosphere that he was creating there. The second thing is on legal aid. We have a situation where the courts decide on the basis of people's means and the seriousness of the charges they face, whether they're likely to lose their liberty, and the courts decide. And that is whether you're an MP or anybody else in this country.
Do you understand? I mean, you may be technically correct, but do you understand why many voters, I think, tonight are feeling complete nausea about this, when, by your government, legal aid has been cut for some people who are a lot less affluent than these MPs? Okay. Do you at least understand the voter nausea about this spectacle?
I completely understand the voter fury about the whole expenses situation, and that's why we've completely changed the system. All the money that needed to be paid back's paid back. It's all going to be independent, and you've got MPs who are facing prosecution. But as far as the legal aid situation is concerned, we've been tightening it up, and David Cameron's people in the Lords voted against that. So, you know, it depends on which day of the week what he's talking about.
OK, well, let's get away from Westminster now, because we can rejoin our North West political cheering the woman who was speaking there a moment ago about it. Do you worry about the young people, getting them engaged in this election? And this is not a party political point. I just kind of think that is there a kind of huge disenchantment with the political process in this election?
I think that the whole thing about MPs' expenses has discredited politics across the board, and we have to kind of break through that, and that's why it's important to explain to people that we've completely changed the system. But I think that the man who's a teacher and the woman who's got children as well, what both of them have talked about is Sure Start centres, childcare, and that's one of the things that we're strongly committed to, because I think the Tories would say, well, they're your children, you had them, you look after them. If you can't afford the nursery, well, then it's your tough luck. And I think that we want to back people up who are going out to work, or for children prior to going to school, even if their parents are not working, they do well in early years in under fives provision, and that's what parents want, and that's what we'd be determined. I don't think that's one of the worst things that would happen if there was a Tory government, is that all the childcare services which we've built up would be at risk.
OK, Harriet Harman, thank you very much indeed. Fraser, Andrew, thank you very much for being with us here on the Campaign Show. You can get in touch with us